Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So, any doubts? Tell me, dear. So, till till here, the questions asked by you just I cleared here. Okay. Where is yes? Okay, Anil. Anil, I will also define you minimum alternative text. Now, I'm going to complete this. So, the maximum possible. What are the things I can do, and we are trying to do. See, several times I discussed with you the growth and development, this concept. So, just today, particularly, I am focusing this concept and difference between these two concepts. Okay, difference between these two concepts. Two words we are using. One we are using for growth, and one we are using for development. Development, clear? So, growth and development, yes, there is a difference, but we are using both combinedly together. Okay, when you say growth, growth means economic growth. We are talking about economic growth, and here we are saying economic development. Economic development. When you say economic growth, simply it means increase in real income. Real income, or income for the country is nothing but it is the real GDP. Real GDP, yes, real GDP. So when you are facing that in the country like maybe India or any country in this world, if there is a increase in real income, that is a real GDP or real income. You are also saying now, real income also you are writing that real output, real output, real output. Same thing, real output means you are measuring the GDP. So in any country, if you are observing, yes, there is increase in an real output or real income, then simply you can say there is economic growth. There is economic growth. But development, when you're talking about development, it implies growth, growth plus structural changes. Structural changes. These things you have to remember, structural changes. So growth plus structural changes in the economy, structural changes in the economy, changes in the economy. So when you are observing, yes, there is a growth and structural changes is there. So we can say the economy is developing. Why? The reason is that structural changes or reforms in the country is only possible if the country is earning more income. So for structural changes, the growth we needed, growth we needed. So these two we are taking the same for the economic growth, economic development. So remember, for economic development, the economy has to grow. Economy has to grow. Without economic growth, it's not possible to achieve the economic development. Clear? It's not possible to achieve. But if there is economic growth, then necessarily we can't say there is economic development. Are you getting my point? For economic development, it is necessary that the economy has to grow. Economy has to increase their real output, real income. Then only you can use this income generated, additional income generated in the economy for welfare scheme, for development of the economy, investing in the economy, for different welfare projects and schemes you can implement. Then only you are going to develop your economy. So for development, economic growth is necessary. But if our economy is really growing, then we can't ensure the development, because maybe income has increased, that is real income we are talking about has increased, but income concentrated only few hands. All are not getting the benefits, or no development process is going on. So it is possible. It is possible. So economic growth not necessarily brings the development, but yes, if there is a development, then only it's only possible if there is economic growth. And combined, you can say, then economic growth and development, you can say. So this is the very basic reason, basic concept behind the economic development and economic growth. So simple question comes, if in any economy, if real GDP or real income is increasing, if real income or real GDP increasing, then can we say in true sense that really our economy is growing or developing? You can use, we are using both, just I made the difference, yes, how you can differentiate between these two. If your real GDP is increasing, so can we say economy is growing or developing? So if you say only real GDP, then again question is coming, suppose your population in the country is going up more than increase in GDP, real GDP, then again our welfare is not increasing. Always there is a question mark on the development. So one of the best measure is the per capita GDP. Per capita GDP. Per capita GDP means GDP per individual. So how you are getting per capita GDP? So you are getting real GDP. Yeah, your per capita real GDP you are talking about. Real GDP divided by the population. So if real per capita income or real per capita GDP or income is increasing, yeah, GDP you can say or income you can say. If per capita real income increases or per capita real GDP increases, it is only possible that increase in real GDP is more than increase in populations. It means the productions or income you generated, now everyone is getting getting more amount in compared to the previous situation. Then only you can say yes, economy is growing or developing. So this way we are doing by this one. So depending on that, which stage you prefer and how you can give the argument. Clear? Now, second thing is that you are seeing the economic growth. Particularly, I discussed in the 11th 5-year plan. 11th 5-year plan. If you see the 11th 5-year plan, so main objective was inclusive growth. You have already written and I discussed you. Inclusive growth. Why? Because the reason was, till your 10th 5-year plan, if you see your economy, okay, the economy really achieved higher economic growth and development. Higher economic growth and development. But what was the things? End result is what? Poverty indications and employment, or you can say unemployment. End result is what? If you are able to eradicate the poverty, you are able to solve the problem of unemployment, then we can say that yes, all are getting benefits. So even poverty and unemployment, these two are related. That I already discussed in the chapter when I was discussing the poverty and your unemployment. So already I discussed. Just I'm just concentrating this few things here. So particularly in a particular topic you prepare, okay, because there keeps forming some question on that. So end result of higher economic growth and development is poverty eradications, generation of employment opportunities, decrease in income inequalities. Okay, so you can say these are the main objective behind it. So what's happened? Indian economy achieved the higher economic growth. True, higher economic growth. You understand this? But higher economic growth not benefited the masses, like you can say SC, ST, minorities, SC, ST, OBC, you can just say minorities, you can say, or women, you can say. So basically we failed the development of these categories people. They are the marginalized section of the society, okay, or underprivileged, you can say. Okay, so one side we achieve the higher economic growth in the country, but its benefits not reach to the these section of societies. 11th 5-year document, 11th 5-year plan documents, I am telling you, we fail to provide the benefits of these sections. And particularly if you're talking about the poor people or unemployed people, a major section you are getting from this. So we fail to provide the benefits to this section of societies, or and eradication of poverty, higher unemployment opportunities, not higher unemployment rate in the country. So then the planners started thinking Indian economy कि we have to achieve the inclusive growth. Then 11th 5-year plan just targeting the inclusive growth, and now today, still today, because the first time in the planning history we focused on the inclusive growth, and even today the way we are growing or way we are developing, the planners and policies only target is to achieve the inclusive growth. Now problem is that how you can bring them achieve the inclusive growth in the country and bring them in the main part. Inclusive growth, normally we are defining inclusive growth is the growth where the benefits of higher economic growth and development should reach to the last person of the economy, should reach to all section of the societies. Then only we can say it's inclusive growth. But the dimension is not till here. Dimension of inclusive growth means we have to also bring them in the decision making process, also enable them to participate in main economic activities, and also get the benefits of everything what the economy is achieving it. If we are able to achieve this, then only we can say that we achieve the inclusive growth targets in the country. So just you think yourself, because now we completed all the topics. Okay, few topics, few words and concept left. We have enough time to complete this. Don't worry. So we are how to just achieve this target, bring them in the main economic activities of the country. Some people ask one questions, bring them in the policy making decisions, provide all the benefits. So there's so many steps we are taking it. One of the things is the financial inclusion. Financial inclusion we are talking about. Financial inclusion. Financial inclusion we are talking about. Yes. Because financial inclusion is one of the means through which we can achieve the inclusive growth target. Means we can provide the benefits to this section of society. Financial inclusion means in a given area or a given populations, how many of the populations, how many the persons they are connected with, or they are related with, and they are associated with financial systems. They having the account, they are getting the benefits. Okay, we can say there's there is a financial inclusions. So if you are not bringing these so section of societies, okay, and not bringing the financial inclusions, then they are not getting the benefits, dear. They are not getting the benefits. You take the example, the direct benefit transfers. If you're talking about, why today we are talking about direct benefit transfers? Because benefits what you want to give them, the benefits are not reaching to these groups of persons. There are so many leakages between the government and the beneficiaries. So many intermediaries and layers are working between these two. So the leakages you want to minimize, okay, I can't say you can eliminate, but yes, minimize. The only way is that go for digital economy, go for direct benefit transfer. And for that, if you want to achieve, then financial inclusion is very necessary. And you know, Jan Dhan Yojana of the central government is one of the tool or the instruments through which government achieved to some extent, the financial inclusions. Earlier, if the individuals wanted to open bank account in the banks, so many documents were necessary that time. But now, if you have the Aadhaar card, you can open an account with the bank. Yes, other facilities you are not getting, but you can convert it later on. Okay, the other facilities. Okay, so yes, the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is one of the instrument through which we are trying to achieve the financial inclusion, and we are trying to bring and trying to provide the benefits to this section of society. And yes, it is instrumental. It's instrumental. Now you can see that you take the example of state governments. Now state governments, even the Bengal, some of these schemes introduced by the West Bengal government. Now the person who are connected with the account, they have the Jan Dhan Yojana under this, they open the account, linked with the Aadhaar card, linked with the mobile one. So they are getting it directly, they are getting from the departments directly to them. So middlemen, they are working between these two, they are not getting opportunities to take out this money. Yes, again you can say at the broader level what will happen, we are hardly concerned about that, because as a student, okay, as a student. But it is the problem, it is the policies of the government, this is the target, and government is trying to achieve this. So you can link with the yes, financial instrument or financial inclusion is one of the instrument through which we can achieve the inclusive growth, because once they started getting benefits what the government is providing it, then only they will get the benefits and they will come out from the poverty. Okay, and they can get the benefits. Second one, the government is targeting the MSME. You get this, MSME. Yeah, the development of MSME policy, all the policy that we have related it. MSME, you are knowing that we are targeting to develop these industries. Why? Because these industries are going to create enough job opportunities, particularly for low skilled workers or unskilled workers. If you are able to develop these industries, then you are going to create more job opportunities in the country. So you are solving this problem of the unemployment. But yes, since you have created the job opportunities of unskilled persons, okay, or low skilled person, there is a very pool of persons are there in these groups. So you are able to provide job opportunities to them also, and now you are going to solve the problem of poverty. So end result of any economic growth and development is eradication of poverty. And if you are able to eradicate it, means you are able to provide benefits to the masses. And once you are able to provide, we can say that yes, you are going to achieve the inclusive growth targets. Okay. Third, you can say that the development of agriculture and allied sector. Agriculture and allied sectors. Particularly you are talking about animal husbandry sector. Already I discussed with you animal husbandry sector. So we are focusing on the agriculture and allied activities in such a way that it can create more job opportunities in the rural areas. Okay, particularly for the poor, unemployed persons. Okay, so we are developing more because we are developing this animal husbandry. Basically, this is really one of the good instruments, best instrument for eradicating the poverty, because here the unskilled workers can be utilized for these industries and you are able to achieve the inclusive growth, because in the all the section of the society, particularly rural sections, you are able to provide the job opportunities and income, then definitely you are going to eradicate the poverty and you are providing the benefits to SC, ST and OBCs. Okay, take the example of educations. Yes, you are developing for them educations. Education sector you are developing in a such a way that you are making them enable to get the benefits of education system, get educated. Okay, and not only education system, also you are providing a skill development program, a skill development program to these people. Okay, why you are providing skill development program? Because these unskilled workers you are trying to convert or trying to change into the skilled workers or semi-skilled workers, low skilled workers, so that they may be employable and they can be absorbed in the productive activities, and so you are making them to participate in main economic activities. Okay, so it's a very necessary one, because just giving the food to the marginal sections or your underprivileged section, it is not the solutions one. Solution is bring them in the main economic activities, give them opportunities to participate in main decision making process. Okay, then only we are able to achieve this. So education is skill development program. Yes, we are also developing, developing our infrastructure like the health. For them, we are giving them free health facilities so that they will get benefited, and then only we are able to achieve the, the inclusive growth. Okay, and other welfare schemes, you can say that the government is running welfare schemes, they are running to provide the benefits, okay, this section of society, so that you can achieve the inclusive growth. So see what we have discussed in the class. This all we discuss, most of this discussed in the class. If you try to get it, okay, if your concept is really clear, connect it step by step, then I promise you, you are able to write any question they are going to ask. Okay. And in MSME, you can say that, or okay, we are giving more focus. Even agriculture, you can say that okay, we are giving more focus to those industries. They are really more. They can create more job opportunities for low skill workers, okay, unskilled workers and skilled workers, and then you are going to solve all these issues. Target this poverty and unemployment. In that reference, you just connect it. You can get it here. Clear? What is it? Check dear. Clear to all? Yeah, generally you require the broker or intermediaries to invest. Demat account, you are knowing that, no? So you are buying through the Demat account, and Demat account now offered, and through Demat account again you can consult with the other agencies. They are offering you information, where to invest, how to invest. They will help you to buy and sell. Okay. Okay, dear. Next, we should move to the just write some things, few topics related to tax. related to tax. So yes, we have already discussed in the tax reforms and the fiscal policy. We have given the all backgrounds why we need it. Just to write only one line. Right. Just one line. You are knowing that government needs financial resources. Government needs financial resources to meet welfare, comma security, higher economic growth and development, full stop, right? To meet all these requirements, government government levied tax, on different economic activities. Levied tax on different economic activities. Clear? Just one line, because when I started discussing your economy as a economic topic, so that time also we discussed about what is direct tax, what is indirect tax. This is all clear, and we discussed it. Even the tax policy, different types of tax. There's few things which in the PT they asked. Okay, they in PT test they asked. One is the inverted duty structure. Inverted duty. One, you are getting inverted duty structure. So first few terminology what we are using it or you are getting it while you are reading your economic topics. Just you write. Normally, there should be lower tax on import. Normally, there should be lower tax on import of raw materials, so that it can be processed, to produce the final product. It can be processed and produce the final product, at low cost, okay, at low cost, that can be sold at home or abroad. Home means in domestic economy or abroad. Okay, right. That helps to promote exports from the country. That helps to promote exports from the country. Okay, right. Higher import duty on finished products discourages their import. Thus protecting domestic industries. Government levies higher taxes. On finished imported products, and encouraging domestic production and employment, because you protected your industries. Because see, domestic output is going to compete with the similar output sold by the foreigners. So agar aap, if suppose you are protecting, you are making the imported, finished imported products I'm talking about more expensive, so they are not going to compete with the domestic output, and your domestic production keeps increasing. Domestic production increasing means employment is increasing. So you are protecting your domestic industries. Production is going on, employment is going on. So everything is fine. Fine. Right. Okay. Inverted duty structure. Inverted duty structure imposes higher import duties on the on the raw on the raw materials oblique inputs, which results which results which results high cost domestic which results high cost domestic produced products. So okay, first you write complete, then I will discuss product, full stop. Right. Right. It puts the domestic manufacturers oblique producers at a disadvantage, at a disadvantage and making them uncompetitive within the domestic market, and in the global market, and in the global market and in the global markets. Okay. Right. The government taking measures, government takes measures to avoid these 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 conditions in the country. So this structure what you're talking about, it is known as the inverted duty structure. देखो clear है? Now just let, it means कि normally what should be in the country, कि suppose I am producing finished goods maybe for domestic country or maybe for the abroad or in the global market. If the inputs I am using if they are imported from other countries, if government charging low tariff, then definitely the price is, the input cost will be low, cost of production will be low. I am able to compete in domestic market as well as in the global market. Clear? And at the same time, what the government has to do? Government has to charge higher taxes on finished goods that we are importing from other country. So domestic production is going to be the lower, we are able to sell at the low price, but finished good, that is imported goods, now it's expensive. So definitely we are going to meet our demand, or we are going to sell our product in the domestic economy as well as in the global markets. Fine, this is the normal structure. Inverted duty structure says that suppose government imposing a tax, higher tax on inputs but lower tax on finished goods. It is known as inverted duty structure. Why? Because if you are imposing the higher duty on inputs, then your imported inputs is going to be expensive. They are using this input to produce output, so output cost is going to be more, output is going to be more expensive. If output is more expensive, then what will happen? If production, the output you are producing, if it is a more expensive, then what will happen? You are not able to meet with the other domestic producers or foreign producers. If it is so, then you are not going to compete it. And the finished product, what you are, it's imported in the country, you are charging the low tariff. So finished product is going to be inexpensive, but domestically produced is going to be more expensive. So domestic producers is at a disadvantage, and they are not able to compete in domestic market. as well as global market. So if it is known to the government, if government is knowing that, then government takes some steps to correct it. But this structure is known as the inverted duty structure. Just go, dear. Is it true? I mean, true not, if it is you are getting or not. Clear? Check कर लो पहले. Now, few I think. Yeah, educated people or skilled peoples are good human resource for any organizations. Clear? But sir, education requires a lot of time to make human resource. In our country, there are a lot of school dropout students. I agree dear. First generation learner, etc. I also agree. So it will take more and more years to make them efficient human resource. So poverty eradication and employment problems can't be solved within a specific time period as it will go on. Ispandan Roy, I agree with all words, all lines what you used. Okay, it's good things and it's showing that you are aware about very ground level realities. Agree, I supporting you. But can you tell me, suppose you are sitting at a point where you have to take decisions, and since this decision is going to work in the long term, so you don't prefer to take decision today? You have to start, dear. You have to start this. You have to start thinking about this. When you are going to formulate and implement the policy, you have to consider all these things. Keeping in mind they are the first generation learners, they are not getting the all benefits, it does not mean that I will stop thinking about them. I stop taking actions to solve this problem. We have to do. But yes, it's true, it will take time. It takes time. Just you imagine that how time is passing. I discussed with you. Connected, dear. The Planning Commission started working in India and first plan they implemented in 1951. 12th plan which is ended in 2017, if you just calculate the around 66 years we given to planning commissions for implementation and formulation of plan, and end result target was eradication of poverty. From first 5-year plan till see the today, the objective was eradication of poverty, create the job opportunities. But yes, we failed to achieve that. Still the official estimate is that 22% of the populations is staying below the poverty line. But if you compare with the earlier situations, it has declined. Yeah, it has declined. But yes, whatever at this time, what we are saying, it is also not acceptable by the society, by the government, by us. It's not acceptable. So we have to do, dear. We have to do. We have to take steps. We have to change our pattern of growth. We have to change our development pattern. We have to change our way of thinking. Bring them in the mainstreams. But we have to just give our efforts. We have to give our best. If everyone start like thinking like this, then no, definitely we are going to achieve this target. It takes time. I agree. But suppose someone is the first generation, there is a school dropout. We have to make plan and policy to them. Suppose you don't prefer to go to this school, but ask them to come and just get the training of some of the activities. Maybe doing the carpentry, maybe due to the mechanic one, just where they are getting interest to do something. Provide them training. Create the skill. It's not necessary. The formal education is only necessary to participate in economic activities, dear. It's not necessary you have to go to the university, go to the college to get educations. The government has started so many training things at the ground level, at the village level, at the very block level. They're giving the training to them. And particularly it is meant for these type of people. You go and just see in the, I'm just forgetting the area. It is where the government is giving the training for poultry, training for the goatry, training for the the dairy business, they're giving the training. So this training is not for the person who just passed out, only for the passed out from the college or university. No, for the person who wants to do, once they are willing to do that. So you are right, but we have to take some steps. We have to go forward, yeah. Then only we are able to solve. Yes, true. It will take time. It will take time. We already given 66 years. 66 is not a very small time. It's a very huge time we have given it. But at least we are able to bring lower poverty level in the country. That is the planning commission documents you can see. And I discussed with you 93, 94. 93, 94, your poverty was around 36% of the populations. But in 2011 and 12, we are able to decrease from 36% to 22%. We are going in the way. You have to think in this way. Okay, Roy? Okay, Bidisa Sarkar, sir, you are saying, so West Bengal government is providing 500 rupee per month to homemakers. But if they could have utilized the money in any skill development and enhancement process, then it would have been better than is it not doing so. Bidisa, I agree with you. I agree with you. But means I think what you are trying to say. You are trying to say, suppose if I am not providing the 500 to the home makers, better I can provide them the skill. Yes, it is a good option. It is one of the best options, yeah. Because if you provide them a skill, then permanently they are going to independent. They are going to do their own. They are going to participate in economic activities. They can earn there. But government is giving it. See, I don't want to say from this, and you should not write it. Always economic priority is not for the government, particularly the ruling government. Okay, some strategy, maybe the short term. You can see in the Delhi, they change the excise duty, they given the benefits for the drinking industries. Okay, I mean alcoholic sector. They are giving the free. They promised it, but they are not given it. Like the electricity, they were distributing it. Like other social welfare, they short term measures. It's good, but what's about the long term? What's about the long term? You go and just see the record. The states, they are going for this type of expenditure more and more. They are not focusing on capital expenditure, which is capex, not focusing on that. They are going to the verge of default. Yes. Because remember, it's a very normal things what we learn it in the class. We have to go more for capital expenditure. And what you're talking about the capital expenditure means development of the skill, development of asset. Yes, it may be one way. You take the human capital as the assets, so it is good. I agree with you, dear. Sir, what is economics? Please, some things I just given you, just read out. Okay, it is there. Read the booklets. Because it will take time for developed country. Basically, you have to compare with other countries in the per capita income, infrastructure development, poverty, inclusiveness. Okay, so everything is there that you are comparing. It's a just relative sense. If you are getting what is the existing country, we are already termed as a developed country. Compared to that, if you are meeting, then only you can say that. Sir, according to inverted duty structure, there should be higher imposition of import duty, and on the other hand, free trade agreements allows imported goods with minimum import duties. Nimai, it's one of the things that is inverted duty is going to create. This structure, this problem is facing due to these reasons, Nimai. Because suppose we are charging the duty, I mean the import duty, or that is, you can say, the tariff on the inputs what we are importing from other countries. So our domestic cost of production is going up. But if we are going for the free trade agreement between the other countries, so we are not allowing any tariff. So definitely domestic product is going to be expensive, but imported product is going to be low price, at the low prices available. We are going to lose these industries. Yes, you are right. It is the way. Clear, dear? Fine. Just you go for one thing, tax expenditure, one word. It's asked in the PT once. Tax expenditure. Nothing. It is the, suppose so many exemptions, so many things government is giving it to the taxpayers. So these all are clubbed together is known as the tax expenditure. Just right. Tax expenditure refers to revenue foregone as a revenue foregone as a result of exemptions and concessions. Okay, just write one line. The government has been presenting a statement on tax expenditure in the parliament since 2006-7 union budget. 2006-7 union budget. Okay, that is the concept of tax expenditure. So they are keep asking this type of small concept. Next is the tax havens. Basically, it is a word when we are using, suppose you are investing in any country, you are doing some economic activities. They are charging no tax or very low tax. So that particular country or this one is known as the tax haven. Just right. There are countries or states, even the states you can say, some states they are not charging taxes, they are giving more incentive. Some taxes charging the taxes. So definitely they prefer to go to the tax states where either no tax or very low tax. But if states are charging high taxes, they don't prefer to go in that state. Okay, so right, there are countries or states within countries, states within the countries. There are countries or states within countries where tax rates are either zero, tax rates are either zero or very low for some items or economic activities full stop, right? They are called tax havens. Okay, full stop, right? Individuals and firms find them attractive for that reason. Definitely, if there is tax havens is there in any country of the world, investors they prefer to go in that country for investment, or individuals also they prefer to go in that country. Okay, next you write okay. Right. Next, there is a one word of Tobin tax. These are the some word Tobin tax. Okay. Yeah. Just write Tobin cent. Okay. What is Tobin tax? So you are knowing that like in recently it's happened in the country. When you can see that there is a more outflow of foreign capital. You observe that, you are getting in the news because USA Federal Bank started increasing the policy rates, the rate of interest increase, and India observed outflow of capital. So to give the discourage it, government can impose tax on that, which is known as the Tobin tax. Tobin is the name of economics, and they given this concept in 1972. So from that, this concept is given by Tobin. It's from 1972. So it is known as Tobin tax. So many countries they are imposing this, okay, to discourage the outflow of capital. Just right. James Tobin, yeah, James Tobin proposed in 1972 tax on all foreign exchange transactions. Tax on all foreign exchange transactions. Okay, comma, when foreign capital enters a country, comma, when foreign capital, when foreign capital enters a country and when it leaves, when it leaves. So basically, not a country is going to just impose a tax if you are entering to that country. They will give you encouragement, they will give you incentive. Generally, they are imposing when there is a outflow. Okay, right? Because just like I discussed with you the tariff, you remember on economic integration. Okay, tariff is maybe used on imported goods and maybe also exported sometimes on exported goods. Okay, right. The aim is to check a speculative flow. The aim is to check a speculative flow, full stop, right? Long term investments not suffer, long term investment will not suffer as it does not invest, as it does not invest for speculation, that is for short term reason, that is for short term reason. Okay, short term reason oblique short term gain, full stop, right? Tobin justified the tax, on the following grounds, first you write it reduces exchange rate, volatility, and second one, tax revenue to the government, Okay, this is the concept of Tobin tax. Yeah, clear? Read and get it clear to all. Okay. Okay. Another thing is Pigovian tax. Okay. Pigo is the name, Pigovian. Pigovian tax. Yeah. Okay. Pigovian tax is Pigo is the name of Pigovian. Pigo is the name of the economist. They basically they propose the tax on the negative externalities. These tax are basically imposed on negative externalities. They imposed on negative externalities. Clear? Negative externalities means you are knowing that if you are going for production, if you are going to the production, so on production, the some factors, external factors, they can act on the two ways. Okay, one is known as negative externalities and second one is known as the positive externalities. Like, so externalities means suppose I am producing some output. Clear? And if I am producing some output, but some external factor, not within the firm, some external factor, if it's working on that, and that external factor is going to decrease my output or production, so that factor is known as the negative externality. If that factor is going to increase my production or it's provide benefits to my productive activity, that is known as the positive externalities. Like suppose I'm just prefer to go for the honey business. Okay, I'm going for the honey farming, but the garden developed around us, that garden is going to work as a positive externalities. Okay, suppose I am producing anything, but the pollutions is going to decrease my production. Okay, or some other factor, Okay, so that will consider as the negative externalities. So Pigouvian tax is the tax which is imposed by, which is offered by the, or given by this concept by the Pigou to impose on the negative externalities like the pollutions. Okay, just to write few lines. The Pigouvian tax is imposed on transactions, on transactions that have a negative externality, that have a negative externality like pollutions, like pollution, like extremely external. Okay, externality means not extremely, externality. Externality means impact of an economic transactions, impact of an economic activity is just right, impact of an economic activity on the on the on the on the well-being of an well-being of another economic entity, the welfare of the, yeah, economic activity on the well-being of other economic entity, other entity. Okay, other entity, full stop, you right. It may be individuals, it may be any firm. Okay, right, clear, right. Carbon tax is levied, just you can just take the example, carbon tax is levied in India. No, just write the carbon tax is the one of the example, like this, carbon tax is one of the example. Carbon tax is what? Carbon tax is the, which is the tax the government is going to impose if any firm, if any firm polluting the environment, they are generating more carbon. Okay, and that is a, this higher pollution is going to affect the health of the person. So here carbon is the externalities, negative externalities for the health of the persons. So government is imposing on that. That is the, you can say, one of the example. Clear? And Laffer curve already I discussed with you, dear. Okay, Laffer curve already I discussed with you. Okay. Next, you write. Uh, Now just write the GST, and this is the last topic, and a few things I will discuss with you about the something left, the information like the development of the policies related to the bank. Okay, now you can just write GST, GST. Okay, so as I discussed with you earlier, even taxes was taxes for the services, it was not applicable initially. So taxes on services sector started after economic reforms, But today you can see both are in the parity of taxations. So government implemented the GST, okay, to bring the parity between the goods and services. Okay, because only one aim is that one nation's one tax structure. So just write, it's a goods and services tax. GST means goods and services tax. I don't need to write, you are knowing, just write. Right. The government of India implemented GST in 2017. In 2017. Okay. In 2017 and it changed the whole indirect tax structure, changed whole indirect tax structure in India and brought uniformity of tax, and brought uniformity on tax between goods and services, right. Clear here? Right. The need for GST. Why GST we needed? Why government felt, we have to implement the GST. So the need of the GST, you write one point. It okay to create tax buoyancy, BOUYANCY. Tax buoyancy means if you are changing the tax rate, so what proportion your tax is increasing? Okay, right. First point, to create tax buoyancy. Okay, for consolidating the fiscal system, for consolidating the fiscal system and stabilize the fiscal position of the government, Okay, right. Next point, eliminate the multiplicity of eliminate the multiplicity of indirect taxes and making it simple, or just write making it simple. Next point you just write simplifying the tax structure to bring transparency. Simplifying the tax structure to bring transparency. Okay. Next point, bring more economic activities under tax net. Okay. Next, right. Form a common and uniform tax structure to attract more investments from the domestic resource as well as from the abroad. When you're talking about the investments, okay, right. Decrease in cost of production, because when there is a uniformity and there is a decrease in multiplicity, so definitely your cost of production is going to decrease. So a decrease in cost of production which promotes exports of the country, because your goods is going to be more competitive. Okay, right. Minimizing the black money and evasion of taxes. Minimizing the black money and evasion of taxes, because every stage you are taking, and suppose I sold you, I just paid, it's recorded, then if you don't want to record it, but it's already recorded, so you are bringing it more transparency. Okay, right. Boosting economic growth and development, and bringing Indian economy as the parity with the other nations, Clear here? Right. Just right. Characteristics of GST. Just give a small heading, right? Characteristics of GST. Okay, please write. Okay, right. The GST is a multi-stage destination based value added tax. Multi-stage destination based value added tax. Value added tax. You understand what is the meaning of that? Say, yeah, there's one of the things was earlier, suppose a car is manufactured at a particular in the particular state. So the benefits of tax this state was getting, but car is purchased by the other state's customers. That customers was not getting the benefit, because earlier it was the origin based tax, where the product where it's originated, but now it's a destination based tax, because you're producing but the whole time they are using it. So basically the everything they are using, the other resource they are using it. So now it's a destination based, where it's finally sold, the it's going to be burden is going to in that particular this one. So it is known as a destination based. Clear? So right, the GST is a multi-stage destination based value added tax, full stop, right? It eliminates cascading effect. Cascading effect. Cascading effect. Cascading effect means tax on tax. Simple in one line. Tax on tax. Cascading effect by providing a set of providing a set of taxes paid on inputs. Providing a set of taxes paid on inputs, okay, and value additions. Inputs oblique you can write, or you can write value additions. Please to write. The domestic customer is mainly responsible for the tax burden. Domestic customer is mainly responsible for the tax burden. Okay, right here. Now GST means you have to pay taxes at the each stage. That is the reason it's a multi-stage, where it's there each stage you have to pay. You clear your validations. Okay, if you want to write, then you can write it. Just write multi-stage. Means from the raw material stage to the ultimate sale and delivery to the consumer. Ultimate sale and delivery to the consumer. Full stop, right? Each final commodity is created. Full stop, right? Each final commodity is created through a series of value additions. Full stop, right? Storage, distribution, and sale, sale. Storage, distribution, and sale are all part of the value addition process. All are the part of the value addition process. Means even storage, you given one facility, distribution, you given your services, and sale, you are giving the services, so it must be added. Services are all part of the value addition process. Please rise. Right. Tax is paid at each stage. And under GST, it is GST. Yeah, it is paid at each stage under the GST. Okay, full stop, right? Change the para, right? GST is levied on the same value added. GST is levied on the same value added by the union and the states. GST for dear, both, it is for both union government and also for the state government. So just write, change the para, right? GST GST is levied on the same value added by the union states at the same time. Okay, full stop, right? In addition, okay, in the same time, at the same time, right? On all transactions inside a state, on all transactions inside the state, the center may levy and collect, because it's depending on the goods and services, may levy and collect, or would, you can write may, better you write would, WOULD in place of may. The center would levy and collect, levy means imposition of tax, LEVY, levy and collect the CGST, it is known as the CGST, and it is known as the SGST. Central government GST, it's the state government GST. CGST, while the states would tax and collect, while the states would tax and collect the state GST, that is SGST. Clear? Okay, right. One more thing is there, right? The integrated goods and service tax, IGST. There is one IGST, right? Yeah. The integrated goods and service tax will be levied and collected by the federal government, means central governments, federal government, on all interstate, all on all interstate supplies of goods and services, as well as imports, full stop. You write the IGST is a mechanism, for tracking interstate commerce. Interstate means between the state. For tracking interstate commerce in goods and services, okay, as well as ensuring that the SGST means state goods and service taxes, SGST, ensuring that SGST component is paid to the destinations, or consuming state, or consuming state. Clear? Clear, dear? Just you check, all of you. If any other problem related to that, then you tell me. And you are knowing that when GST was implemented, it was asked to the government, if after implement of GST, I given you just a concept behind this, what is, because in the most of the times in PT they are asking, but I request you, please, GST website you can just go and take the rate of the slab, which products are there, but that's micro level, hardly they are asking. Okay. Nimai, you are again asking one question, sir. Black money is being converted in white money after taking black money to tax haven countries. I agree. From India. Yes. And that countries from India, and that money is coming to India again through investments. Why international institutions like FATF and Indian government does not take any actions? They might, they are taking it. They are taking it. But the problem is that really we are getting all correct information not. Because in some states they don't want to cooperate on this. Because if they started cooperating, they started informing to concerned authorities, then definitely they are getting the capital they will not invest in, that will not put their money in that countries. But yes, from this FATF and other international pressures, they started giving information to concerned countries. We are getting so many black money information. We got the list. Okay, some of the persons, capitalists, industries, politicians, they put their money in the tax haven countries. We are getting the list. The government of India started taking the action against them. But since they are the big face and they are the renowned persons, so also the government is taking the precaution. Maybe possible that some of them within their own government, so who wants to just, so you understand all the things. See, dear, always in the political front, you understand one thing. The government, the group who is ruling the government, always and 100% they are not thinking about the economy. If they start thinking about the economy, so they has to just leave the government. Leave the government. Because always remember one thing, it's a fact, the hard economic policies, the normal citizens, common citizen or any businessman, they don't prefer. When you take the example of GST, really the people accepted this is very simply? No. It takes time to just accept it. Even today, most of the states in the country, or take few countries, I'm not saying the most, but yes, few states, not countries, few states in India, they are really not effectively implementing. And I'm not saying that at the ground level really. Who is issuing the proper and the invoice, which the GST number? They're not issuing it. If you ask the bill, then they will give you one parcha and they will sign it. Take it this. So if not recorded, how can you just get it? This one. So many things are locally produced. So many things are produced but not recorded. GST says that you have to produce, and you can only GST you can impose if that is really recorded that this much output is produced. Then you have to do that. But if you are not doing like this, then effectiveness, again there is a question mark on that. Take the example when earlier you was buying the gold, and even today if you buy the gold and any jewelry at the local shop, they will not give you the invoice. Why? Because they are not going to pay from their pocket, they are not going to pay from your pocket. Finally, you as a consumer, you have to accept this, you have to pay this, burden is on you. But suppose even the 0.5% or 1% you are paying to say that jewelry shop keeper, jewelry shop owner, but their transaction is recorded, and their transaction is recorded means the volume of transaction government can track, and they can start imposing the income tax. So you understand all these things. Okay, but FATF has started working. Recently it was put in the grey list to the Pakistan, and they are taking it, they are giving the pressure. Okay, so what is yield rate of interest and maturity rate of? See, yield is the total return, what you are getting this. The overall return you can see. Yield means overall return. A rate of interest means the overall return may be through capital gain or maybe through the rate of interest. But rate is the only interest what you are getting on that. That is a generally market rate of interest, which are inversely related. Yield is there, but bond price and the rate of interest we are saying inversely related. Okay. Now, just you write second point under the GST, because you are knowing the GST Council formed, and I already given you that GST is one of the best example of cooperative federalism. And why I given you GST one of the best example of cooperative federalism? Because here all the GST rates, okay, These are decided by the both the parties, center and the states. So they are participating it. So they are the stakeholders. So it's a good example of cooperative federalism. So just write GST and center state finance relation. Okay. One more thing you write first, then we are going to change the para you write. It's a GST council you write later on, because because some taxes was under the state government, some taxes was under the central government, few in the list of concurrent one. So they have amended it. Just you write, change the para, right? The constitutions, the constitution, the Indian constitution was amended, 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 amended. That is 101st amendment. Yeah, 101st amendment, 101 amendment, 101st amendment, 16, 101st amendment, 2016, Amendment Act. So 101st Amendment Act 2016. Yeah, there is a constitution you have amended. Okay, amended 2016 Act was enacted to solve all the following issues. Okay, right? The act changed the constitutions. The act changed the constitution to allow for the implementation of GST. Implementation of GST. Okay, implementation of GST, right? It added a new article 246A. 246A. Article 246A. I think what I'm saying, the Constitution, Indian Constitution amended, and amendment was the 101st Amendment Act that's happened in 2016. I mean, government amended in 2016 and added Article 246A for A, right? So it adds a new Article 246A to the Constitution, giving the federal and state governments, equal and simultaneous authority to enact laws on goods and services taxations, on goods and services taxations, right? The union, that's CGST, and the states, the union and the states will each levy a dual GST independently, comma, equally and simultaneously. This is the amendment. So sometime they are asking in the PT, which amendment GST is allowed? Okay, because earlier it was the different power is given to state government and the central government. So now you amended. First you write, then I will just see your questions, because okay, right, first. Right, GST Council. Okay, right, GST Council. Okay. Yes, good. GST Council is a constitutional body, you can say. GST Council is a constitutional body. Yes, is a constitutional body. Now, GST Council is not the normal thing. It's a constitutional body because you enacted this and you introduced it, right? Article 279A 1. Article 279. Article 279 A A A1. Article 279 A1 of the Constitution mandates that mandates Constitution mandates that the GST Council should be set up. GST Council should be set up by the President of India within 60 days of the commencement of 60 days of the commencement of article 279A. Article 279A. 279A. Clear? Full stop, right? All aspects of GST Council are contained in article 279A. In Article 279A of the Indian Constitutions. 279A of the Indian Constitutions. And its clauses. Okay, its clauses. Full stop, right? GST Council examines issues relating to goods and services tax and make recommendations to the union and the states, because it's a constitutional body, so they can recommend to state governments and the union governments. Okay, states and the unions and the states on the parameters like GST rates, comma, exemption list and threshold limit, means minimum limit, threshold limits. Threshold limits. Clear? Please write. The GST Council consists of the following three types of members. Okay, just few questions you send me. Okay. Subrata, sir, free trade agreement must be a win-win situation for both. And if India signed a free trade agreement, can India reject it later? If we can do so, then why not we reject? Why not we reject the free trade agreement with South Korea? Because here India faces a huge trade deficit. Again, you have to understand the Subrata. We can go for that. But suppose the loss you are making in any agreement, I'm not saying that, any agreement, and due to that short-term loss or loss in a particular sector, if suppose you are started like this, you are agreed, but you taken it back, you agreed and taken it back. But if this is the trend, then if you are going to make FTA or you are going to sign with any other countries, this is going to create a negative impression for you. And then they don't prefer to sign agreement with you. Then what will happen that time? Suppose you are getting the trade benefits with some of the countries and you prefer to sign the free trade agreement, but they are knowing your trend, they are knowing about you. Yes, you can ditch me or you can just get it back in a moment. So when you're doing on some international front or you're doing at the even national front, you have to take precaution on that. So you have to make a rules and regulation in such a way that in long term it can give you return. So that is the reason if one country is going to sign the FTA or any type of economic integrations, so they are taking precautions. They are taking precaution. They are first studying all the aspects of the agreement. If they are satisfying that yes, now it's a good for the economy, then only they are going for implementation. Otherwise, they are not going. So it takes huge. I mean, the number of years they are taking for signing a particular agreement. It takes time. So it's not very easy here. It's not like our the family thing is that when I want I can change it. No, you have to consider the all the aspects. Okay, Alok, you are asking developed country give compensation to the underdeveloped country for natural disasters. Is it under the Piggyvin tax? No, dear Alok, why you are comparing like this? Just think very normal one you think. You are saying developed country give compensation to the underdeveloped country. First of all, you change this word. Now, in this world, we are not considering the word underdeveloped. No. If you are 20 years in the my time when I was in the graduation, then that books writing that underdeveloped, developed country, underdeveloped country. But today in this growing world, in globalized world, okay, not a single country is undeveloped country or underdeveloped. They all are maximum, they are non-current. It's a developing country. So don't write underdeveloped country. Write the developing countries. So developing countries and developed country. This is the way because development process started most of the country in this world. So avoid to write this, just write the developing country here. It's my personal request to you. Okay, where I am getting these changes, I will request you. But okay, so Pigouvian tax basically I discussed with you ki this tax you are imposing when any economic activity is going to create the negative externalities. So if developed country is helping you, giving you compensation for natural disaster, so disaster which is happened in by the nature, so why developed country contribution or help to you, you are going to impose the Pigouvian tax? No, it will not come. It's not correlated basically. It's not correlated. They are helping you. It's not they are creating the negative externalities. Okay. Braja, you are asking, sir, government charge GST on any specific restaurant owner for their service. So why restaurant impose GST on us through bill? No, Braja, just you seen that I discussed with you. It's a destination based, and first and second is the ultimate burden it is going to impose on the consumer. You have to pay. You have to pay for each and every services. Each and every services. That is one of the reasons why GST. You understand this? Even the goods you produced and goods you delivered. So the moment your transportation and delivery is happened, then services you are adding in the same goods. So the burden is going to be the higher, but government is getting the taxes one. Even now under the GST, you are going to just rent some your there is a maybe government is going to like government is saying that this budget I have to see that okay, what are the changes they made it. But there is a possibility they are going to impose on the rented room. Suppose you are getting your room you are taking from the owner, rented room. So now
You are availing the home services, and for that you have to pay the taxes. So the concept is like this, and they're going to just, so Alok, you can't use it, and Breza, this is the things, finally it's going to the burden, final burden on the consumer. So if you are consuming, or you are just having your lunch or dinner in restaurant, you have to pay, and that's, you are paying that. That's, you're paying that. And both the bifurcated bill is coming. Okay. SGST means state government GST is this. CGST means central government GST is this. And IGST is for the interstate the transaction the government is paying, and you have to pay. But IGST is basically sum of GST and the SGST. Okay, finally it is going to just give it to the customer. So that's recording it. Okay, next is, okay, you are asking Vidisha, sir, if inflation is due to some facts other than increase of money supply, then I mean, how will RBI curb it? Will it still increase its rate? Birisa, that is the debate is going on right now. Even one of the member who is from the IM Ahmedabad, he basically discussing and started saying that, increase in repo rate is not good for the Indian economy nowadays, because where we are in our country, the consumption started decreasing, and your employers, some of the companies started firing the labor. Okay, if this phenomena keeps going on in the country, then this higher interest rate is not going to pick up it's not going to help to increase the investments and consumption. And if these two things are not happening in the country, then increase in aggregate demand will be the question mark. And if your aggregate demand is not increasing, then how you are able to increase the productions, employment, all the things. So they ask the question on that, because if just get these things, if suppose inflation we are facing in India, find out what are the reasons. Then mostly it is a reason of your agriculture product and the crude oil, that you can't do anything. Even you are increasing the policy rate. But you are trying to decrease overall aggregate demand, but this overall aggregate demand is decreased from the other sectors. But they are not contributing more in the inflations. So ultimately is going to just, adversely affect your country. So you have to balance between these two. Even there is an inflation, but you have to manage it. Okay, in that to some extent you have to think about it. That was the reason in 2016, the same type of issues happened with the Raghuram Rajan. So you amended the RBI Act 1934 in 2016, and then you introduced the, you implemented the Monetary Policy Committee. What was the issue? It was one of the issue was that RBI was only focusing on the inflation, not on the growth. So then you just change the objective, primary objectives you change. Now RBI primary objective is what? Inflation, controlling inflation, but also has to keep in mind the growth. It is there, but you're right, you can say this with this. Sir, who is the final authority to decide on tax slabs? And no, Partha, it's a GST council is the final authority, not the central government, nor the state government. It's a GST council, and GST council is the both. They're both are there. Okay, just you write, then you will get this idea. Right? You have written that the GST council consisted of, right, first the Union Finance Minister, as chairman. He will be the chairman, or she will be the chairman. Union Finance Minister as the chairman. Second, you write the Union Minister of State in charge of revenue. The Union Minister of State in charge of revenue. Okay. Next, you write, next point, the state finance ministers, including from Delhi and Puducherry. Why Delhi and Puducherry? Because these two are the UTs, but with the legislatures. Suppose tomorrow, the Jammu and Kashmir is also there. So there again, chief minister will be there, but it's not effective. So we will think later on. But these two chief ministers are there, state finance ministers, including from Delhi and Puducherry. Change the para, right? So three components. So you can see that these three are going to decide. Basically, these are the components of council. They are going to decide. So all states are there. UTs are the two UTs and one more UTs, Jammu and Kashmir legislature. So if they are going to be effective, their government is coming. So the finance minister of this state may come. But let's see the final result. But here the Delhi and the Puducherry, they have their own legislation. So their finance minister will be presenting. Okay. So GST council is a combined of both central and state. That was I am saying that GST council is the one of the best example of federalism, cooperative federalism. Change the pari, right? The members of the GST council, the members of the GST council choose one among themselves to be the vice chairpersons. Choose one among themselves to be the vice chairperson of the council. Vice chairperson of the council for such period as they may be decided. For such period as they may be decided. Yeah, other members can choose among the members who is going to be the vice chairpersons. This way it is there. And finally, they are deciding the GST rates others. Clear, dear? Please read tax labs and everything you read from there. Okay, go to the GST council, go to the online, visit the website and just do that. Clear? Okay. Already I given you some about the banking system, few terminology which maybe we needed. Okay, first you write small finance banks. Few things, few concepts. We have few minutes, so there is one concept of a small finance bank. Okay, and one is the payments bank. Payments bank. Okay. What itself is saying the small finance banks. Okay. Just you write few lines. Just write your few lines. Right. Small finance banks are commercial banks. Small finance banks are commercial banks that come under the differentiated banking sector in India. Differentiated banking sector in India, which focus on lending for financial incorporation, to small and marginal farmers, comma small business units, comma unorganized sector entities, and micro and small industries, etc. Okay, please write. Individuals, comma corporates, comma trusts, or societies can promote them. Okay, can promote them, right? They come under the Companies Act. Come under the Companies Act as public limited companies, in the private sector, Okay. Licensed under the Banking Regulation Act. Licensed licensed under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. 1949, and are regulated by the provision of and are regulated by the provision of RBI Act 1934. RBI, no, just and are regulated by the provisions of RBI Act 934. Clear? Clear? Comma Banking Regulation Act 1949. Both you write RBI Act 934, Banking Regulation Act 1949, and other relevant regulations. Other relevant regulations. Right. Small finance banks or private financial institutions, a private financial institution can function without any restrictions, in the area which is which is unlike regional rural banks, or local areas bank. This is about small finance banks. Paytm bank, payments banks. You are knowing that payment banks about this, uh, right? The payments banks is set up as a differentiated bank. Payments banks is set up as a differentiated bank. Full stop, right? Payment banks is permitted to undertake. Payment banks is permitted to undertake only certain restricted activities. Only certain restricted activities permitted to banks under the under the under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. The Banking Regulation Act 1949. Okay. In the following areas, ऐसे कर लो, in the following areas. First you write acceptance of demand deposits, that is current deposits, acceptance of demand deposits, that is current deposits, and savings bank deposits. Second point, no NRI deposit accepted. NRI can't deposit it. No NRI deposits accepted. Okay. Second, you write the eligible deposits mobilized by the payment banks. The eligible deposit, the amount which is deposited here, right? The eligible deposits mobilized by the payment banks would be covered under the deposit insurance scheme, of the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. Deposit Insurance and Credit Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. Full stop, right? The primary, given their primary role is providing payments and remittance services and demand deposit products to small business and low income households. Full stop, right? Payment banks will initially be restricted to holding a maximum balance of 2 lakh rupees per individual customer. 2 lakh rupees per individual customer. It's a limit. Okay, where the banks having no limit. Okay, right. However, payment banks can accept a large pool of money to be remitted to a number of accounts, deposited in the bank, number of accounts provided at the. At this point, you just leave it. I don't think so. It's very relevant. Just stop this point. Just you write one point more. Payments banks cannot accept fixed deposits. Okay, fixed deposits cannot accept fixed deposit, comma term deposits. Yeah, this point you write. Cannot accept the fixed deposit, comma term deposits or and recurring deposits, RD. Next you write cannot undertake lending activities. Yeah, cannot undertake lending activities. Cannot take lending activities. Can't give loan basically. Lending activities. Okay, right. Next point. Payment banks allowed to issue ATM card oblique debit cards, but cannot issue credit cards. Clear, dear? Okay. One more thing you write, India Post Payments Bank, IIPB, India Post Payments Bank. IPPB. Okay. It's a government's one, just you write. In 2014, okay, right, a task force was constituted by Government of India. A task force was constituted by the Government of India to study ways in which the existing postal network could be used more under the chairmanship of TSR Subramanian. Okay, TSR Subramanian, right. Okay, right. Committee recommended that more services should be provided in the field of banking, insurance and e-commerce. More services we have to provide. Okay, right. India Post Payments Bank, IPP, India Post Payments Banks is a public limited company under the Department of Posts, Ministry of Communications, with 100% government equity. Okay, full stop, you write. It aims to utilize all of India's right? 1,55,000 around 1,55,000 1,55,000 around 1,55,000 post offices and 3 lakh 3 lakh 3 lakh postal service workers, around 3 lakh postal service workers to provide house to house banking services, to provide house to house banking services, full stop, right? The first phase of the bank with 650 branches, 650 branches 650 branches and 3,250 post offices, 3,250 post offices as access point was inaugurated in 2018, okay, right? You just write one more line. IPPB mane India Post Payments Bank aims to make India prosperous, by ensuring that by ensuring that by ensuring that everyone has equal access, by ensuring that everyone has equal access to financial information, and services, so that objective of financial inclusion can be achieved. Clear, dear? So these are the few points you just pleased. Mudra Bank is made. I already discussed about the Mudra schemes of the government. And development banks means the banks only mean for the development. They are giving the long-term lending to this. And please, I request you, okay, just read the book which is given to you. Okay, and one things you please go through this book. It's there, the booklets which is given to you. And microfinance, again the same things that's talking about the yeah, you can just write the microfinance one line at least, microfinance, because this word you are getting more in this word. So microfinance you can just define. Microfinance is defined as provision of credit. Microfinance is defined as provision of credit and other financial services like insurance of very small amount, to the poor. Other financial services like insurance of very small amount to the poor in rural, semi urban and urban areas for enabling them to raise their income levels and improve living standards, comma, or full stop, you write. Institutions are those which provide facilities, which provides financial facilities, you can write, but at this micro level. Even self-help groups, they are helping to the self-help groups, they are helping it. Okay, they are giving the credits a small amount so that they can enable themselves to participate in production, increase the production, information, making them independent, economically independent. Okay, and only one things I request you, what you will do that, okay, and that's you have to understand few things like Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2006, insolvency and bankruptcy code 2016, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2000, some Bankruptcy Code 2016. Please read it. Why? Because you start from this 2 3 like SARFAESI Act and Bankruptcy Code. Basically, these are the steps taken by the government to make the banking sector more efficient and more, productive. Because you know NPAs is going to create some problems, and one more thing, the banks are issuing this loan if they are getting the NPA. So earlier, even before economy reforms, your system was not efficient to recover this, areas. So government is trying to make few 2 3 changes. They made it. One of them is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. So SARFAESI Act, that's make the very stringent for the borrowers. They borrow it, but they don't prefer to give it, okay, to the, they don't want to give it back basically. So these are the things, measures they have taken. Please go through this. It is there in the booklets. Just read it. Okay, and compare it also the Indian insolvency bankruptcy with the SARFAESI one, and it is there. Okay, and one asset reconstruction company ARC was also constituted, and they are basically taking the bad things, bad loans, and they are recovering it. So bank can sell to them, okay, their NPAs. They are going to purchase the amount they will pay you, but finally they are going to recover these amounts. Take it here. So please, this part you do, and which is there in the booklets, and the things we just completed there. So tell me and give me permissions to leave this class. And it's not my end of this class, so you have number. So if you're getting any small doubts, any problems, keep me send it. Okay, I will respond you. And thank you. So at least today my economics, you asked me, sir, when you're going to complete, so if today it's possible for me to, now I am able to complete it, because a minimum framework I have to cover, but it's very difficult to say before this one, okay, really, because sometimes it take more time, sometimes we are able to manage it. Now we are going to end your class, but few questions since you asked. So high repo rate leads to less investment in economy. See, depending, yes, high repo rate, the implication you're knowing, because lending rate is going to increase, so definitely it's going to affect your investment. Yeah, Saladitya. Sir, bank you, sir, that you, uh, Saladitya, say, you word you have written me, send me. Okay, sir, thank you for teaching us the concept of economics. Again, I'm telling you, I'm not teaching economics to my, you are not my, you can say you are my friend, you are my students, you can take it. But economics, in the first day I discussed with you, it's not new things you are getting in my class. I complete from the first day to till last day today. I only discussed with you that you are already knowing, dear. You just think peacefully and just ask yourself, anything new things really you got in my class? No, really not. So what you was doing in my class? So basically, economics no one can teach you, because you are knowing each and everything, dear. What is happening around you, you are knowing that. And personally, I'm telling you, are feeling from here. You are knowing what is happening in the world, its impact, it's visibly something, the crude oil price increasing, you are facing the inflation. When you're going to fill your and the motorcycle, the petrol, you are saying, oh, this much is the higher price, I am paying huge price. You are going to buy anything, you are saying, no, I am paying the higher price. So we are the effect, we are the part of the economy. So yes, what we done in the class, overall class, we try to put our informations and the knowledge what we have already, in some academic way, So we try to learn this topic, this concept, what already it is with me, so that I can put in the academic way. If someone is asking, then I can relate properly and in consistent way. I can relate, I can explain this. That's be done in the class. Clear, dear? But still, thank you to you, all of you. I already given you this number, but okay, fine. My 9354256233. Okay. 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 Thank you, everyone. Okay. Bye.